Hey there, this is Schwermetallisch, and I'm sitting here with the guy
Mo.
that didn't introduce himself.
Mo from Troll Teeth.
Mo! Okay, I will start it again and cut that away because.
No,
Yeah.
leave it in. Leave it in. Leave it in. It's funnier to do it awkwardly. It'll definitely make you stand out more.
Yeah, I'm used to people having their Skype names. There's Ekelsinic, standing there, and there's no name. And that was like, yeah, I don't know. but I hope I get the vocalist because your vocals are pretty cool. So yeah, Schwermetallisch here, and I'm sitting here with Mo and his daughter, who's
her nickname is Baby Tooth.
Baby Tooth, getting 3 years old. And yes, the guy is out of the big.
You're always gonna be my baby.
I'm not baby.
Pincher, I think. it's the right word. Oh.
Me, I'm not baby.
So that's not too much info on you guys because there's no entry in Metal Archives. I normally heavily rely on Metal Archives, but it was not possible because they are too poser to feature you.
I know we're on doommetal.com because the guy who runs it, we're friendly. So when we changed our name from Slaw to Troll Teeth, I told him exactly what was going on, where another band trademarked it, and we'll go pick one out. Where we were like, all right, we need a new name. Kyle sort of came up with because there's so many bands in doom metal that have witch or they sort of all play off the same thing. It's like, well, no one's really doing a troll name. No one really talks about teeth. Well, why not Troll Teeth? It's dumb enough that no one else will ever try and take it from us. So we'll just rock with that.
Yeah, and I think there's already a band called Troll Witch.
Yeah, so they're just in repeats right now.
I think the witch names became kind of stale when I discovered a band called Witch Tit.
Well, when we were thinking oh, should we do something like witch, and we were just saying how many bands had witch in their name, and there was Witch's Heel, Witch's Brew, and it's all right, there's too many witches band sort of stuff out there, so we have to go a different direction.
Yeah, totally understandable, because if you look for band names, almost every cool band name is taken 60 times all over the planet. So you have to get creative without sounding too ridiculous, and Troll Teeth is right there. It's still cool enough and creative enough.
Well, we have just because we didn't think too much into the name, that we've been sort of trying to build stuff around it. So we've had and this Amelia. No. No. You want your puppies? Where sort of the moniker comes from collecting trolls' teeth. So having a music video where someone's being an absolute asshole and just doing every annoying thing possible, but by the end of the music video, we're ripping their teeth out and making a necklace out of it. So sort of using the name as a basis to tell a story that way. But that would have to be okay, we need to set aside time and a budget to film a music video, and that's not something we're able to do right now.
Yeah, it's hard. music business is not for the faint of heart. These times.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been doing this since in like one form or fashion since like 2011. To the point of where because we now have two guitarists, Ben and Pete, and Ben, right around the time we were about to record the first album, that me and him basically wrote together. So like those 8 songs are our baby. He moved to West Virginia before we went into the studio, so he never got on anything that we recorded, even though he helped. He was like sort of like a shadow producer helping write songs. And we've been doing this so long that he's now moving back from West Virginia. So he's back in Troll Teeth. And one of the things that we did do is that we re-recorded the first album where he did do the guitars on it. We did get those mixes back. And, you know, we're on track for like a December release. But getting a little too far ahead of us because you're probably doing this for the EP that came out. Is it yesterday? Time zones are weird. Is it yesterday for you still, or is that be 2 days ago?
It's Sunday for me.
Okay, yeah, it's Sunday here. Okay, thank you.
I have to show this interview to my wife. She will die out of adoration for your daughter.
She is she's definitely active for her age and is not shy about getting involved in whatever I'm getting involved in. If I'm playing guitar, she has to try and play guitar. If I'm, you know, going in the basement into the studio, she has to follow me. So she definitely tries to. All right, when I'm done, we'll go in the basement and play drums.
Let's play guitar.
I'll play guitar while you play the drums.
I got the food to go in the basement.
Can you go eat your food?
No.
Okay. All right.
That's a determined answer. No.
Yeah, no, she's honestly more advanced with her sarcasm than anything else, which is kind of alarming for a 2-year-old. So her, her teenage years are going to be fun.
Yeah. so I was on Instagram and saw the meme you guys made with your vocals and your bass playing.
Yeah. Am I what? No, I'm not done yet. Again, when I'm done, I'll take you in the basement to play drums.
Let's do play guitar. Play the hand
Okay,
tour.
yeah, we will.
I like to play the hand tour.
The hand tour. Okay. I'd say because we don't take ourselves too seriously, we do make a lot of memes and try and roast each other. Forget how long ago it was, but because we have different stuff for like logos, I made like fake letterhead. So we did like employee evaluations and gave like everybody else like glowing evaluations, but mine was like, he's a fat piece of shit, he doesn't know what he's doing, like just like lightly roasting myself for the sake of being funny. But we don't take ourselves too seriously, so I think it helps us stick out a little bit because we do joke about things that most bands would want to be like super serious about.
So you're basically 8 Mild yourself.
Yeah.
So you guys are from Philly?
Yeah, well, I consider us a New Jersey band, and you're in Germany, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll put this in terms that you can understand. Like, what is an area of Germany that's kind of like always picked on? Would it be like because you have like Hessians, Bavarians, like Prussian, like all that sort of different ancestral stuff? Because
I would say in my region, the city I'm picking of the most is where I was raised, and yeah, got my ass kicked in school. So I would say the shittiest town I know is Wanne Eickel, and you know who you are.
So I've been born and raised, lived every year of my life in New Jersey. And New Jersey is in between two very large metropolitan areas, New York and Philly. So everybody likes to shit on New Jersey because the two metropolitan areas that we're sandwiched between, a lot of the rich people who are like, oh, I want to live in the suburbs, end up living in either like, you know, Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, whatever, or Montclair. So most of New Jersey, I'd say, is like just a normal state, but there is the rich people who leave those cities. So there's a lot of like animosity, but I'm always going to consider us a New Jersey band because I'm always going to live in New Jersey, even though half the band lives in Philly. So you could say that, you know, I'll compromise and say South Jersey, Philly area, but I'm always going to consider us a New Jersey band.
That was a decent album of Bon Jovi in the 80s. Or was it 1991 already? I have to Google that.
Yeah, the thing about New Jersey is Bon Jovi, Frank Sinatra, Bruce Springsteen, just because they are from New Jersey, so many people who live in New Jersey are like crazy fans about them just because they're from Jersey, and it's like they want to like cling on to that.
I think that's totally understandable. I think the area where I'm from, okay. We have bands like Creator and Sodom, Destruction, the whole big four of thrash, of German thrash metal, but yeah, that's not the same amount of fame like Frank Sinatra or Bon Jovi has accomplished. So yeah, I guess you can be proud of wherever you live, or just don't.
Well, I mean, part of the pride comes from just because so many people hate New Jersey for whatever reason. Like they just love. Now they'll come here in the summer and spend their money at the beach. Because I grew up down by Atlantic City, which is like sort of a touristy town, casinos, all that. So they'll come down in the summer, make traffic horrific for 6-7 months. I want to go to the beach. Well, now my daughter wants to go to the beach. And then as soon as they go home, they're like, New Jersey sucks. New Jersey sucks. It's like, well, why are you coming here? Like, go to Delaware, go to Maryland, whatever. If you're gonna, talk about how bad of a state we are, don't come to our beach.
Yeah, if you hate it here, don't make my life miserable in those 7 months.
Here's a taco.
Yeah,
Here's a very taco.
I get that. So you play music together for 10 years now?
Yeah, so this setup with, because Kyle's, other than me, the longest tenured Troll Teeth member. He's been in here basically right after we recorded or released our first album. He sort of joined on. It was honestly a weird weekend because we had 2 release shows. So Friday we had a Philly show, Sunday we had an Atlantic City show. And Chris Geisler, who recorded the drums, was on the Friday show. Kyle was on the Sunday show. So we had 2 drummers over a weekend. But since then, he's been the steady drummer, and we're kind of at the point because he's been doing this with me for about 7 years. Like we're kind of on like the same wavelength, where we get to translate like what we want to do to each other like effectively. With Pete, he joined 2018, so he's been with us for about close to 3 years. He is just on Goes Nowhere, Does Nothing and the EP, and he's going to be on Hanged, Drawn, and Quartered, which should be coming out hopefully December, but it might be January, just because the recording schedule getting a little weird just because he's in nursing school. And our original guitarist, Ben, because he's back in New Jersey, he's back in the band. So pretty much everybody right now, we've been, together long enough to where we have enough chemistry to where writing isn't that difficult.
Yeah, coming back to hanged, drawn, and quartered. Yeah, Bandcamp, people. There's a possibility for you to pre-order the bundle for $40. So yeah, if you like Doom, do that. I checked it out and I was really surprised by your vocals.
By my what?
By your vocals.
Oh, the vocals.
Pleasantly surprised.
It's weird because when we started jamming, no one wanted to sing. So it was something I kind of like fell into because everybody was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It was like, well, all right, well, I guess I'll do it. So just through circumstance, that's how it ended up. I'm kind of going crazy recently because for the new album, I keep redoing the vocals just because I'm like not happy with like a vocal section or like a harmony or whatever, because we're trying to make the vocals on the album kind of much more robust in terms of like the harmonies and like backing stuff. So the complicated nature of it just keeps making me go crazy. And I think it's going to be like the 5th or 6th time where I'm just getting rid of all of them just to redo it. So.
What is that?
He keeps taking a pull-up and wants to put it on the screen. So like a diaper. Because she's potty trained, but she wears pull-ups and diapers. You just want to show off Mickey?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll probably get like a cease and desist letter from Disney because of that. Blurred out.
Yeah. So yeah, I was made aware by Davide that I'm writing all the time, reviewing all the time, but you always there's always bands that escape your radar, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's like, oh, those guys sound great, and that's basically Throat Reef. Those guys sound great. Check them out. Pre-order their stuff. And I'm a big sucker for great vocals, so I'm reviewing a lot of Doom bands, and a lot of them I'm listening to the first time, and I'm always hoping for good vocals. And if someone is like, yeah, the whole band sounds great. There's atmosphere for weeks on end, and yeah, the vocalist just sounds like the Cookie Monster.
I mean, one of the things I feel that makes us stand out is because we're like, the instrumentals for us are super heavy. They're always going to be heavy just because we down tune. We're in C standard. We don't really scoop a ton of our mids, so we're going to have like lower EQ stuff. So the instrumentals are always going to be like brutally heavy. But like the first album, it was almost like a clone of Ozzy with how the vocals came out. And the second album, a little less so. But because it's like normal singing, a baby and a dog. Now I got a baby and a dog freaking out. But because the vocals are so clean and focused, I think a lot of people are gonna lean more towards that, because a lot of the Doom bands, like you said, they'll do like guttural stuff, like and not everybody's sort of into that singing. So if you have like a catchy riff, good song structure, like, and that first vocal is kind of like someone trying to sing after like eating lasagna, or like super phlegmy, you know what I mean? Like it's going to turn some people off.
Yeah, there's Death Doom bands that are pretty decent, and can appreciate it if you got either two vocalists. One is doing the clean vocals, one is doing the harsh vocals. That's okay with me. Or if someone can do both. But if I have to choose, I will always choose clean vocals, because that's not only vocals, that's singing for me.
Yeah.
And I like singing. I like that. That's cool. And these sometimes I think the structure and the harmonies, the atmosphere is could be way better if you would have someone who's really able to sing or able to balance between harsh vocals and clean vocals. And if you have a super heavy band that is ultra atmospheric and very skilled, and you have a singer, and the singer is the least skilled member of the band, it's always like, okay.
We, like, because the vocals for us are so clean, like, we've been able to introduce people who wouldn't otherwise, because we are technically a metal band, like, we're heavy. Like, some people might want to put us into like the rock camp or like hard rock or whatever, but like, we've introduced people to metal just because we don't have vocals that are screeches or growls or anything like that. So the stuff that would automatically turn them off, like the heavy guitars and stuff like that, they're kind of able to get into because, okay, this is like normal singing, I'll give it a chance. Oh, this isn't actually bad music. It's, you know, well written, well performed, well mixed, all that stuff. So introducing people that otherwise not be interested at all, this is kind of cool. It's always cool to see because I'd say most of the people are like, you know, people I interact on a daily basis with, and are like, oh, you're in a band? Yeah, what's it sound like? And then, you know, I'll put on like a song like a Turncoat or something like that. And they're like, oh, it's actually, this isn't bad. This is not what I expected when you said metal, you know?
Yeah, it's still funny to me that metal is a genre that is existing like 50 years now, and people are still able to know nothing about it. Oh, I expected something else. So you expected like the 10% of metal that exists that is just noise. But if you don't know shit about that stuff, why do you know this? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I mean, it's just because like because metal evolved, where you have like that 70s proto stuff with like Black Sabbath, and then, you know, the 80s hair metal, and then the 90s I'd say was kind of like dominated by like thrash, because you had like Metallica and Slayer and stuff like super big in the 90s. But like people just see that evolution and think metal's only going to head in like one direction, and they don't really like take into account like, okay, the other genres that might not be as popular at the time are still having new bands introduced to it, still making more music and evolving in their own little world, even though it might not be on the grand stage because, you know, Metallica's been the most popular metal band since like what, like 85 maybe, I don't know, like but they've been doing it or have been the most popular for like 30 something years. So I think people are always gonna link on to them and who they're playing with in terms of what they consider metal, just because the people who aren't metalheads just know who they are.
Yeah. So, do you guys already have material for the time past Hanged, Drawn and Quartered?
Yeah, so we have the EP dropped. We recorded those songs back in May, and we were just finishing up the drums and bass for the redo of Unwanted and Worthless, our first album. So we had this like weird pocket of time where we weren't doing the drums and bass for Hanged, Drawn and Quartered. So we're like, all right, we'll do the EP songs. And then hang drawn and quartered is a little bit different because the bass and drums are done. We're still doing the guitars. Pete is in nursing school, so we basically get him in whenever he has any free time. But we recorded everything to a metronome in our session, and that's not something that we've done before. So it was a little weird and took a little getting used to. But after experimenting, it's actually easier in terms of like fixing your fuck ups. So hang drawn and quartered, the 8 songs are like 85% done, because I'd say the drums and bass are the most difficult stuff to lay down. It's really whenever Pete gets a chance to finish his guitars, and whenever I get a chance to finish the vocals, when I stop driving myself crazy, then we'll have that stuff mixed. Unwanted and Worthless, the redo version, is like pretty much done being mixed. So that just has to be mastered, get the CDs printed, and then we're looking for a December release there. I would like to release both albums the same day, but I'm not gonna put out a subpar product just so I can get them on the same day. So if they're a month or two apart, I'm not gonna be, too bummed out by it.
So no cyberpunk?
No, not that. I will never sacrifice quality.
Do you want to download the newest patch to this vocals?
Yeah, I mean, we do leave in a lot of like hiccups and like little things like that. Like if you listen to Goes Nowhere, Does Nothing, there are happy accidents in there that we listen back. It's like, okay, we don't normally do that, or that's not how the song was written, but you know what? It works, so let's just keep it in. No one's gonna really notice it anyway. And I feel like having those little moments included, because we do it more than I'd say other bands. Like, not that we're like lazy, but if you screw up and it works, just keep it in. Like, why worry about it? But we leave in those things more than other bands, so I think that's another thing that makes us stick out a little bit more.
Yeah, and in the last 40, 50 years, there's been a lot of bands that had fuck ups that they kept in the recordings. Bands like Queen, Rainbow, Sabbath did
well,
that.
I think
why not?
Jimi Hendrix had the quote where he said, I knew I was really, really good when I started hearing bands copy my mistakes. Like, that's like next level, like guitar god stuff though. And Pete's good. I don't think he's Jimi Hendrix, but Pete is definitely, like, he went to a performing arts high school. He was a touring guitarist with Death Clock, Brendan Small's real life band of the TV show. He's toured with other bands, but he knows like all the music theory stuff. So since he's joined Troll Teeth, I'd say the songwriting stuff has gotten easier just because it's like da 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 with him.
That sounds pleasant to work like that. So last question from me for today. What are your plans for the future? What is the first thing you do after this whole dumpster fire of a pandemic is through?
I mean, because I have a kid, Ben has 3 kids. Pete is in nursing school. Kyle's pretty much the only one in the band who has flexibility, at least more flexibility than the rest of us. So we're kind of at the time being outside of like we have a live stream planned for December 17th through Harvey's house, which we did back in July. That was fun. We would love to do like some open air festivals. So like anything outdoors, we could probably make it work, but with touring and stuff like that, because my kid's not old enough to get vaccinated. I don't want to get her sick, so I try and watch where and what I'm doing. Like, we don't have any real plans to tour, so just doing a lot of studio stuff, getting these 2 albums out. We also have, we're planning like an acoustic album that's going to kind of be like James Taylor-ish, maybe a little bit more jazzy than that. I don't know. We just have a lot of these weird, because we have our own studio, we're able to, record more than other bands because we're not having to pay for studio time. So not having to worry about touring or anything like that. It's really all we have planned right now is like, well, let's just record as much music as possible and see what comes out of it.
Sounds fun. I think if every band would be able to just record music without paying for it, we would drown in music. But hey, maybe we would drown in good music, so that's fair, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's obviously a drummer.
She is banging away on this table.
So, okay. I will leave you to attend your daughter and the dog and play some drums and guitars. And thank you very much for taking the time out of your day.
No problem. Sorry for the technical issues early on, but we still got this out of the way.
That is life. Sorry for not being aware with whom I did talk to. I don't know if Davide told me up front with whom I'm going to talk to, or if I just forgot, because I am me.
It's all right. Again, I suggest you keep the awkward intro, just because that's kind of on brand for our band. So just we relish living in the awkwardness and those things like that.
Yeah, that's a nice label. It's awkward doom.
Yeah, awkward doom metal.
Nice. Yeah. So thanks for your time, and we can do this again if you have something new, because this was fun.
Yeah, we'll try and do this again when we do the actual albums. So if you message our Facebook page or something like that, I'll Facebook friend you, and then we'll connect that way.
Yeah, and if you guys want to, you can show us the studio.
Yeah, I'll give you a little tour, a virtual tour.
That will be cool. A troll tour.
Yes, it is. It is in the basement, so it is
under the bridge studios. Okay, super. Yeah, have a nice day, and have fun with playing drums and guitars and that little girl.
All right, thanks for having me.
Bye bye.